UltraCycling Magazine, formerly known as the Ohio Ram Show.
The current edition of the UltraCycling Magazine show. I'm Jim Lawyer, and this show is all about ultracycling and really anything bicycle related. Hey Lee, how's it going tonight?
Pretty good. And we're glad to be here again.
Yes.
And we're here because of all the wonderful people who work here in our time stations here in Ohio, the time station on the race across America, 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, and 43 in Chillicothe.
Yes.
And we want to welcome, we've got some new followers this week on Facebook, got some new subscribers on YouTube. We appreciate all of that. That's great. And if you can follow us on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube, that's wonderful. And if you're on YouTube, ring that bell, yeah, and that helps us get the word out about
Definitely.
the wonderful sport of ultracycling.
Right.
So, Jim, tell us how to get in on this giveaway.
Yeah, basically we're doing a giveaway tonight for anybody that's on watching. If you type hashtag MEG, M-E-G, in the comment section, you'll be entered in tonight's drawing for a wonderful copy of her book, Shifting Gears. So definitely a good thing to get a hold of. So type in hashtag MEG.
Okay, and we have, for those people who thought we were going to give away a mouse pad and are going to be disappointed about that.
Definitely, I know.
Just giving away an old book.
There you go. But it's a great book, better than a mouse pad, I think, in my opinion, especially with our great guest tonight.
Yes. And so that'll be a great thing.
Definitely.
Couple of things in the news. First of all, the Israeli 24 timed event was canceled. We're not terribly surprised about that, I don't think. But
not with the terrible
route,
situation, yes.
Yeah, the route went right through the war zone there. They did change the route to further north, but a lot of flights were canceled and people weren't able to get there, so they just decided to cancel it. And so, Jim, let's talk about Marek.
Marek, yeah, we've got a little video from Marek, so we'll watch that right now.
Hello, here's Marek Rupiński. The bike is ready. It's first training in Japan, in Kagoshima. I try get out from the city to training outside the city, and look like we are near the volcano Sakurayama. The volcano can be erupt every time, every moment. Then place is unbelievable. See you 24. We started with Japanese Odyssey for UltraCycling Magazine. Marek Rupiński. Bye.
Yes, that was a great video from Marek.
And we have a playlist on YouTube of his videos as they're coming in. I got some more this morning when I woke up. There was some coming in, and we'll be keeping that updated for that Odyssey. I think that's some pretty. That's kind of Meaghan Hackinen kind of riding. It looks
yes,
like
definitely
pretty rugged.
There you go.
Maybe that's something Meaghan might want to think about in the years ahead.
Definitely. And we got the Psycho 48 going on right now. The 48-hour people are still out there, and we want to congratulate everybody that's finished so far. One of them is our reporter out there, Georgie Stoichev, and hopefully we'll get some video from him, and we'll have up on the site that you can watch some updates and some information from that race. Here is the live tracker that's still going on. The 48-hour people are still out there, and the officials aren't. The official results aren't out yet, so we won't comment on any of those. But again, we want to congratulate everybody that was out there, and
yeah,
yes.
Well, and then next weekend we're going to have Race the Pearl in Sri Lanka, and Gritty Kartik, our reporter from India, she's going to be racing in it, and Yasik, the director, we've been talking to him, and between the two of them, we should be able to get some videos from that event.
Yes.
That's something people ought to think about going to. It's a long way over there, but I think that'd be a beautiful trip.
Oh, definitely.
And so we'll be looking for that.
Definitely.
And then the weekend after, November 10th, is the Deccan Cliffhanger in India.
Yes.
And again, Granny's going to be reporting on that. So a lot going on here.
Yep. And then coming up, we do have the World Time Trial Championships in Borrego coming up November 3rd through the 5th. And hopefully we'll have some reporters on the ground there and get some reports there.
Sorry for stomping on your line.
Oh,
there,
no worries. Anytime, Lee. No better person to be stomped on than you.
No, well, I have been stomped on quite a lot, so I guess.
Oh, that's my day today. So
yeah. Next week,
yes,
we're going to have Caleb Sprayberry. He was the one at the Hoodoo 500 this year, and he's going to be at the World Time Trials, and we'll be hearing from him next weekend. And I mean, and that'll be should be a good show.
Definitely. Well, then, you think we should bring our wonderful guest on now?
Yeah, she's in or out right at the moment. She's.
Oh, that's right. I didn't see her drop down there. You're right.
She must have dropped out. So
yeah.
She's been in here, folks.
Yeah. We will go ahead and bring that up. I'll go ahead and we've got a few comments out there. Again, people, nice doing your hashtag Meg. That's great, Jerry. You're in the drawing. Simon Toon also.
There we go.
Yes. And then we've got the voice of the UltraCycling Magazine. I almost did it, Lee. Almost said the wrong thing.
Yeah, I know.
Hard to break a old habit, huh?
So while we're waiting for Meg to reconnect, remember, if you want a copy of the book,
hashtag Meg.
So I can put me up there so you can see it a little better. Here she is. Hashtag Meg.
Yep.
Does it make a difference whether it's capitalized or not, Jim?
In the past, it hasn't. I'm not sure on this platform. We will find out.
Capital M-E-G, small e-g, and that's where you have it?
No, lowercase the whole thing. Make sure it's, lowercase the whole thing, yes.
M-E-G, lowercase. So we've got a couple of contenders for your book.
Yep.
Hi, Meg.
We've got 0 bars on her, so we've got a very poor signal right now. Work fine pre-show.
This is one of those cases where it's working just fine till we go on the air.
Yep. Unfortunately, her site. Yeah, there you go. We hear you now.
Oh, okay. I tried to hook it up to my cell phone for my data, but there's very poor cell phone signal here, and there's very poor Wi-Fi signal here. So I'm really sorry, but thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here, Meg.
Yeah. You've got a book out, and tell us a little bit about it here.
Yeah, for sure. So shifting gears coast to coast on the Trans Am bike race is about my first self-supported bike ride, which was across the U.S. From Astoria, Oregon to Yorktown, Virginia. So it was kind of a big jump for me, going from bike touring and randonneur cycling into I learned a lot along the way, and from the randonneurs in Saskatoon. And I made a lot of mistakes and had some of those weird, memorable, fun times that you have with on those long trips, like, cooling off in rivers and getting into hotels really late and, eating 3 persons share of food from the breakfast bar or whatever. So so I think it took me 24 days and 22 hours, and it was 4,300 miles. And like I said, it's entirely self-supported. So you're taking care of yourself along the way, finding places to sleep, whether it's a ditch or a hotel, and dealing with your bike problems. So that's what it's about. A lot of camaraderie, a lot of the highs and lows, and all the things I learned about getting into self-supported biking are in there.
Awesome.
Well, like I said, my copy just came yesterday evening, quite late, and I've been had a lot of things on, including some things to get ready for this show. So I've only read the prologue so far, but it's quite enticing, and there's some romance involved apparently along the way, isn't there?
Oh,
Don't know. You'll have to read it and find out. I'm not
there
giving
you
away a
go.
thing.
Well, that's all I got in the prologue. At least it's enticing, and we'll see if that leads anywhere.
There you
Hey,
go.
I think that happened before. As I recall, when we first connected here with the show, was when you did the North Cape 4000, as I recall, and you did that. We chatted with you from Switzerland. I don't know, maybe it goes back before that, but I remember that. So this had been before then, wouldn't it?
Yep. Yeah, this was 2017. So it was a pretty long time ago.
Okay. Well, there is
So
our
I've got some
beautiful Kristen
grumbling.
Sampson.
Let me go ahead and bring her in.
Let's go bring her in.
Yeah.
Hi, Kristen. How are you? Well, we somehow don't have any audio.
Hang on, let me unmute her. No, she's muted on her end.
Okay. Looks like you got your mic muted, Kristen. You work on that while we talk to Meg here a little bit. So we have two divas on tonight. We have a
Divas.
Yes.
I like it.
diva, and we'll tell you a little more later why we have Kristen here with us tonight. Yeah, may have a bad connection. I don't know. Anyhow,
Yep.
where were we at?
We're talking about her book and the romance and
Yeah, romance, and we are talking about supported versus self-supported.
Correct.
You've done both of those kind of things, and just give us a reflection on.
Yeah, I did my first supported. Yeah, for sure. So I did my first supported kind of road event that was not the 24-hour race this fall with the Silver State 508. And one of the reasons I wanted to do the Silver State 508 is because it would be very different than most of the riding I was used to, and having to figure out the logistics of a sport vehicle seemed really enticing to me, and not like fun necessarily, but like a challenge. And the idea of just having to focus on cycling was enticing as well. So, yeah, it was a very different experience. And the Silver State has a randonneur category, so I kept wondering, like, how would I do if I was a randonneur in this event? But I think I would have done poorly because it was so cold, and I don't function well in like sub-zero temperatures. So, it was I was pretty grateful to have the vehicle and have my crew there to layer me up and put little warming packs on me and pep talk me and stuff like that.
Excellent.
What are some things you've learned over the years about yourself, about that you
So
can come directly from cycling?
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. I think I've learned a lot about for cycling, like pacing and nutrition, and kind of staying out of that red zone, where if you go a little bit too hard, too long, you're going to end up in this pit that you can't get yourself out of. And that happened to me more and more in my earlier days, where I would just be in such a deficit. I would have to stop for a really long time to be functional again. And now I feel like that happens less often, still happens. And I think I've learned just to be comfortable kind of on my own in these more remote places. I got to do the transcontinental race last summer, and that took me from Belgium to Bulgaria. So I was in a lot of new countries to me, like, Montenegro and Bosnia-Herzegovina and Romania, and riding through pretty rural areas in the middle of the night, and just having to kind of own it and feel like this is where I am. There's no point being worried or anything about that. So, and even today on my, I was doing an Everesting Rome 10,000 meter day, and there was a lot of really interesting pretty remote places in the Okanagan where I'd be like, riding my bike on double track through a bunch of cattle and
Wow.
and just being like, okay, well, this is where we're going now. As long as I'm getting elevation, that's okay.
There you go. What's the weirdest thing that's happened to you on one of these long distance by yourself rides? Or the most
The,
interesting? Weirdest or most interesting?
oh man, the weirdest or the most interesting? I think I've had a lot of really interesting connections with people that I've met
Mm-hmm.
in unexpected ways. So when I was doing the transcontinental, I got into Croatia and I booked a hotel because I hadn't slept indoors for like 4 days and I was out of charge for all my devices, and I was
Mm-hmm.
stinky. And I got into the hotel and I booked it because there was free breakfast, but then I was going to leave too early for breakfast. And so I tried to like mime to the front desk fellow who didn't speak English and I don't speak Croatian, that I wanted to eat something. And he was like, well, it's really late. None of the restaurants are open, kind of signaling this to me. And I told him I wouldn't be there in the morning and I really needed to get food before I left. And he took me into the kitchen and made me this like giant, like, what do they call those sandwiches? Those like giant sub sandwiches. It was huge though. It wasn't,
Wow.
it was, and then he just like would, point at something and ask me if I wanted it. And so it was like 3 kinds of meat and mayo and mustard, and hot sauce and peppers and onions and just like everything. And then he handed it to me and I was just like, oh my gosh, like you don't know how much this means to me. And I ate half of it right away and I wrapped the other half up and put it in my pocket for the next day. So things like that, where you don't speak the same language as someone, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't really know what on earth I'm doing on my bicycle, showing up someplace at midnight and leaving at 4 a.m. But we have this lovely little connection nonetheless, and yeah, so things like that, small things that kind of stick with me.
Gotcha.
What on your self-supported, well, any place, what is the weirdest place you've ever slept?
Oh man, I slept in a lot of kids' playhouses and a lot of bus stops. And the bus stops are nice if there's like a cover and a bench, so you're not sleeping on the ground. But I slept in this tiny wooden kids' playhouse, and um, I want to say like Bormio, Italy, in the mountains. And I was coming down from the mountains after a big thunderstorm. So I was like cold and wet and a little bit shaken because I don't know, I don't want to get hit by lightning or something. And
Definitely.
I finally got into town and there's just no free space. Like there's buildings, like apartment buildings, hotels, like there's no public public areas. And then there was this little park with this tiny kid's house and I had to like crawl into it and like lie down with my legs under the table. And I was like, I think this will do. Like I locked my bike wheel to my frame and like hope for the best.
There you go.
But yeah, and I got a good sleep in there. I was tucked away from any future rain. Yeah. So playgrounds.
Gotcha. So do you not take a tent with you? It's just a sleeping bag and minimal things to cover yourself up, or how does
I
that
usually
work?
bring I usually bring a bivy and not a sleeping
Okay.
bag,
Okay.
and then a puffy jacket, and I pull the hood over my head and tuck in. If I was racing someplace colder, I would bring a sleeping bag and
Gotcha.
maybe a tiny tent. But most of the places where I'm competing are warmer, so yeah, I usually can get by with the bivy. And my races this year have all been so short. I haven't. Yeah, I don't even think I've used my bivy much. I just ride through the night and finish when I get to the
Excellent.
finish.
Yeah,
Sleep when I
definitely.
get to the finish.
Yep.
And we do want to interrupt. Some people come in later. If you would like to have a chance for a copy of Meg's book
Yep.
here, it's hashtag Meg, lowercase MEG, with a hashtag in front of it. That puts you in the drawing. And we're glad to
Woo-hoo.
see Kristen back. We'll get to you, Kristen. Thank you for keeping up. You're making the effort. Oh, we lost her again.
Yeah. Maybe we should
Well,
grab her real quick if you want to do that now.
can we interrupt right now, Meg?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, we got you here, Kristen. Hi, how are you? I still don't have any audio from
Nope.
you. No. Well, we'll do this right at the end if we don't get our audio.
Okay.
We got this little bit. We're glad to have. Well, let's just while you're visible here, make her
Make her
visible.
big. Okay. There you go.
At least we can't hear you, Kristen. And I found out that Bill Engels crew chief was a soprano with the New York City Opera, the People's Opera, I call that. Isn't that right? Yes, it's called. If you think opera's for snobs, the whole idea of the New York City Opera is for everybody. Isn't that right? And I was delighted because I love opera, and we're gonna do a little bit from her opera later on that we get done talking to Meg here.
Okay.
Sorry about all. It's the internet, Kristen, and we'll do that just the same, and we'll tell you why you're here.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell her why now.
Okay.
We have designated Kristen as the opera laureate of the UltraCycling Magazine.
Yes.
Every thing to do with UltraCycling and opera, Kristen's the person. And I was just thinking the other day, I've seen some operas that had bicycles in them, but I can't remember what they were anymore. But I know they're out there somewhere.
Definitely.
We may give you another try, Kristen. Let's get them back to Meg.
Okay.
Meg,
Back to Meg.
You stomped the 508.
Mm-hmm.
You stomped everybody into the ground. Tell us about
Me?
these.
No, I don't know about
No.
stomped.
The Silver
I got beat by
State
4
508.
guys. I mean, they're all part of one team, but that one was my first kind of supported ultra outside the 24-hour world, and I had just a bunch of chaos before I left. I had a race the weekend before on a different bike. I was trying to get these 2 bikes ready to go, my road bike and my TT bike. And I had lost my bike computer. So James, my partner, was bringing me a new one that I got to ship to his house. And so I didn't calibrate it to my bikes properly, so I didn't have any power data, and I didn't wear a heart rate monitor, and so I was just like basing it all off of feel, and I had to really trust myself that I've done enough racing that I know what pace I need to go at to ride for 30 hours, and I really wanted a sub 30-hour finish because Leah Goldstein's time was 32 and change, and I obviously wanted to set a new women's course record, so I went out pretty strong, and I got passed on the climb by a couple of guys, and then I passed one on the descent, and the other one, I kept it in my sight lines. I hunted him down like team Requiem Sharp that I am, and after I got ahead of him, I just really paced myself and kept pulling ahead. But I had told my crew, which was my dad, my partner James, and his friend Noah, to not tell me my ranking until the next morning because I want to, since I'm relying on myself to pace. I don't want to be pacing off of someone else's power data or something. So when I pulled into the lead, I was like, am I winning? Am I in the lead, you guys? And they were like, I don't know. We're not telling you. And I was like, you guys, I might be winning the race. This is really important, the overall. And they were like, you said not to say. Yeah. So that was quite funny. And then I pulled it out of them. And they're like, yeah, you're in the lead, but don't do anything differently. And I was like, how can I not now that I have this knowledge? I want to jump for joy. But it made it really exciting to know that I was ahead of everyone. And I just had to keep on trucking. Beautiful sceneries in Nevada. I love the mountains in the distance, and some of the canyons were just gorgeous and really fast descents, but a lot of climbing, descending, fast flats. And I think I had a little bit of a tailwind heading out to the turnaround point in Eureka, so that made it nice. But, you just know once you turn around, it's going to get dark and it's going to get cold, and you're not going to have such a good tailwind, and it's just going to be a lot rougher. So the nighttime was the hard part for me, just really keeping it focused. And as I was layering up more and more, and then all of a sudden it becomes hard to do anything when you're so puffy. I couldn't pull out, I could barely drink out of my water bottles. I couldn't pull a piece of licorice out of my pocket. I couldn't adjust anything on my own. I was just puffed up in layers, and I was wearing mittens because they're the warmest thing I have for my hands. And I had hand warmers in each of my mittens. So try riding a TT bike with mittens on. It's the most ridiculous thing.
No fun at all.
But no. And I had some problems with my bike computer, and so the the mileage was off, and so I didn't understand how much distance I had left until the end, and I didn't know what time it was, and I was just like very confused and disoriented, and we didn't have a good line of communication. We were using cell phones, and there's no service for like 3/4 of the course. And then I couldn't use my cell phone anyways because I couldn't use my hands and my mittens. And so I was riding behind or up in front of the follow vehicle. So every time I needed something, I would just wave my hand in the air and we'd pull over and deal with it, which was like definitely less efficient than I would have preferred. But on the other hand, it was quite cold, so I took any opportunity to warm up in the vehicle for a couple minutes before I got back out there. But yeah. And the final climb over that last, I guess, 6 Mile Canyon and up over Geiger Pass was just absolutely brutal. Like I you kind of think that you're going to have this like reserve of strength that you'll be able to dig into at the end and just like have this heroic finish. But I like literally crawled up that climb. I'm glad I got to swoop back down and still get in under my 30-hour time goal. That was great, but it was pretty hard on me by the end. I'm just so grateful. I had such a wonderful crew. Everybody functioned well together. Noah, my mechanic, had his work cut out for him as soon as we all got to Reno. He had to work on 2 of my bikes, and we went to Great Basin Cyclery like twice to get stuff and deal with things that he couldn't. So, I mean, it's obvious you should show up to a race with your bikes tuned up, but like I said, I've been a bit of a hot mess lately, so it is what it is. They're tuned up now.
Derek Minner.
Yep, I'll pop that one up there. Yep.
Are you considering narrating a book for Audible?
I failed. I tried and I failed. Next question. It's really hard. And like, it's, I listened to Patrick Stewart, like Captain Picard's audio or interview recently on Rich Roll. And he says that narrating his audiobook was the hardest thing he's ever done. It was way harder than Star Trek or Shakespeare. Wow. So I feel like less sad about not being able to do it and failing. But so like, I would say I would like to, but I don't think chances are high. Hold out for the audiobook.
One thing I've observed about you, Meg, over the years I've known you, you have the ability to string together one event right after another, it seems, with very little recovery time. In fact, you just finished a 34-hour, an hour or so before you came on here, and you look remarkably well.
Yes, definitely.
I've got a bit of a sun glow going on.
There you go. Yeah.
Really well. And do you not require a lot of recovery, or how does that go for you?
What's your secret?
Yeah, what's your secret?
Well, I tried to space my events this year so they were about a month apart. So I would have about a month between each. And most of my races this year are much shorter than things like the Transcontinental or the Trans Am or North Cape 4000. So you don't need as much recovery time with those, like 18 to 44-hour efforts. But I do think that it's messed up my training in that when I am recovering, I'm not doing my regular workouts. I'm taking it easy, or I'm just getting out of my bike for fun rides. And so I don't think I have as much time to improve. I feel like I've been maintaining, and I actually feel like my fitness probably peaked in like my first event in May, and it's just been like kind of going downhill from there. So I am so excited to have an off season and reestablish my routine and not have any events or races. But I am sad to be not going to the World 24-hour time trials. That one looks like it's going to be a cracking good race this year.
Definitely.
So you doing the time trials? You're not. Okay.
No.
I didn't see your name on I was looking at the roster. I didn't see it there. Yeah. What's next for you then?
Nothing. I have no money. I have no plans. Literally.
That kind of puts
buy my book.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, I will make some plans. I just need to kind of save up a bit more, like save up any money first. And I think the winter is a good chance to do that, to work a bit more. And then I'll probably start, kind of looking at what events are happening in 2024 and making plans in December, January.
Okay,
Excellent.
Very good. Poor Kristen has been in and out here.
But we can hear her now.
Great.
Great.
Yay.
Great.
Oh.
Glad to have you make it in here because we got going to have a little fun with Kristen here in just a minute.
Yes.
Now, if you'd like a copy of the book, Meg has been very generous to donate a copy for us. And all you have to do is in the comments section, either YouTube or Facebook, just put in #Meg. That puts you in the hopper for a book. And of course, all of those of you who are in the hopper who don't win one are going to go right out and do what I did and buy my copy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the descriptions, you'll find on show notes a list of places where you can find the book. There's links there.
Definitely.
And so be sure to do that. So I'll tell you what, Meg, let's take care of Kristen here while we still have her. And
Let's shift
this will give
gears.
everybody a little extra time to get your bid in for one of these books, for a copy of her book. Not
yes.
one, he's only giving one away. #Meg. Kristen, so glad you're persistent.
I am indeed. I had to reboot a couple times, and the microphone decided to finally decide to, make its appearance.
So glad to have you with you. And the reason we're having you here is, Jim, next Wednesday is World Opera Day, October 25th. And that's because if I got this right, Kristen, let's see if I got this right. That is the birth date of Johann Strauss II and George Bizet.
Yes.
Two of the great
artists. Good on you.
They composed probably two of the best entry operas for new people. There are Carmen and Der Fledermaus, which is often played on New Year's Eve. And I think I've seen it a couple times on New Year's Eve. And it's a wonderful thing. And so I've got acquainted with Kristen. We've talked opera. I love opera. I'm one of those crazy people that does. And so I found out that she had sung the title role in Tosca, and I got curious. How is it at the end of the opera where you jump off the castle, you do that without breaking your neck or a leg or something else? And she sent me a little video clip where I'm not going to show you tonight. If you have a question about that when this is over, then just get in touch with me and I'll reveal that little secret to you. So how many times, Kristen, have you jumped off of the castle there in Tosca?
Oh, probably about 35. And first and foremost, thank you so much for including me in this broadcast. I can't stress enough how much I admire all of you for your athleticism, your commitment. Meg, you're amazing and inspiration, truly. And I know you don't necessarily know my boyfriend, Bill, but he is an amazing cyclist and, just really has the passion for it. And I can't stress enough how much I appreciate what you guys do. It's awesome.
And we thank you. I know you've been a crew chief for Bill, and we hope we'll see more Bill out there on the road from time to time. Now, I said you've jumped off that castle some 35 times.
Yes.
Have you ever hurt yourself?
I have not. I'm very fortunate. We have what we are called fight choreographers, and we've had number of times where you just basically practice it with the people implementing these amazing crash landing mats. They have a whole crew backstage ready to receive you, and you have the ability to basically land. They'll squeeze your hand and you immediately have to squeeze back so that they know you are okay. That is, the most important thing. And then it's almost as if it's just a choreographed gesture. It's very in sync. So they have, generally it's 3 people on the mats, and they are the kind of mats that are used in films for the big jumps and the big dives. So I've been very fortunate, but I know not everybody's has been as fortunate, but I have not at this moment ever had an injury from a jump.
Well, let me say that after seeing her video, I searched YouTube, all the Toscas I could find. I searched the Metropolitan Toscas. I don't know how many different ones they've done, some of the greatest stars ever. And I declare that Kristen Sampton is the best jumper of the lot. Nobody can jump like she does. And so, for those of you who think you don't love opera, Kristen's going to change that for you in 45 seconds.
45 seconds.
45 seconds, you're going to make opera lovers out of people, because Jim is going to run this little video of you in the last 45 seconds of Tosca.
Great.
Give me just a second. All right, here we go. That was awesome.
Thank you guys so much. It was an
and I love it.
pleasure.
And I love Scarpia's reaction. It's just perfect. I mean, it's so wonderful. And we thank you for being a good sport with us here, and wish you well. How are you going to celebrate World Opera Day, Kristen?
I actually have a performance that night, so it's a private cocktail party for some guests. But I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to sing on World Opera Day. It's
awesome.
It's a great thing. But really and truly, opera is one of those things. It's all about storytelling. So if people would be willing to give it a chance, you might come away enjoying it.
Oh yeah,
quite a lot.
and my wife and I have loved it. So we not able to get out like we do, so we just took a subscription out to the Metropolitan app.
Oh yes,
and it's just so wonderful. And I'll probably watch something. I've been trying to pick out some things, Kristen, I hadn't seen before.
Wonderful.
And try to expand my repertoire. But we love your Tosca. We love your Turandot. By the way, in the show notes, you should find a link to your website. Hey, it needs a little updating, Kristen.
Yes, sir. I'll get on it today.
Yeah, get on
Sorry
that.
about that.
There's some blank spots in there, but your Un Bel D, which I have played over and over and over again. One Fine Day from Madama. Have you ever sung the role?
Yes, I have. I've done, I guess, 20 performances of Madame Butterfly.
Okay.
It's one of my very favorites.
Well, thank you, everyone, for indulging me.
Yes,
in
thank
this
you.
moment of opera. And maybe we've convinced a few people there's a wonderful art form out there you all been missing.
There you go.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank
you.
Truly my pleasure.
I'm going to be in touch about something else, though.
I would love it. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, back to our giveaway. Meg, are you ready to roll it and see who's going to get this?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and flip over to that screen, and we should all still be on here.
Sure.
All right.
Let's see who all's on the list. Not a lot of people, but somebody's going to get it.
Yep. And we'll give you about another 10 seconds, and then I'm going to roll it.
Okay.
All right, last chance.
Here we go.
I know some of these people. Oh,
Who's going to get it?
Who's it going to be? Ed, congratulations for getting a copy, and send your mailing information.
Yep, to info@UCM Bike. That's info@UCM Bike.
Yay, Ed.
Yes, awesome job, Ed. Great.
And thank you, Meg, for being with us.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen, for being persistent and sticking
Yes.
with us. Did you enjoy that little clip, Meg? You were able to see it? I think she's frozen up on us.
Yeah, we lost her now.
We lost
So,
Meg.
well, perfect timing at the end of the show. That's the best place to lose people.
Yeah. Thank you for all. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Kristen.
There you
Thank
go.
you for watching. It's been a fun evening for me. I hope it's been fun for you. And with that, I think we'll just. Nobody wants to see us, Jim.
There you go. We'll find Gregory and see what we can do. There you go.
Here.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.